Happy Friday and welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Sinead DeFries, and this is the daily show where we bring you the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us this morning is Dennis Sen.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of Collider Movie Talk here on Friday, where we discuss what deodorant we do or do not wear.
Also here is Barry Nemroff.
I love how we're 2 minutes late today because we had to talk about BO.
Yeah.
It's important stuff.
It is super important. Speaking of BO, just kidding. Mark Ellis.
Hey, ladies, somebody on this panel uses prescription strength antiperspirant. Who do you think it is? Place your bets now.
Before we get into the first topic, I wanted to mention this it's not really real news, but it's just kind of an interesting fact that just came out yesterday about the 50 Shades Darker trailer.
Ooh.
Yeah, which actually broke the record for most trailer views in a single day. It had 114 million views in the first 24 hours, which beats the Force Awakens trailer, which was 112. So, Mark, as the resident Star Wars fan, what do you think about that?
You know, Dennis, we're not taking this loss lightly. This is something we're going to have to go back and regroup and make a new Rogue One trailer, maybe release an Episode 8 trailer. We will get this record back. Do not worry, Star Wars fans. We are going to get it back from 50 Shades Darker. Ashley Moe was responsible for at least like 3 million of those views, though.
But you and Ashley did a really cool and funny trailer reaction.
We don't want to take all the credit for breaking the YouTube record, but we will share it with everybody else involved in the production. Look, I didn't hate the trailer. I really didn't. For what the trailer was, for the footage that they had to cut together, I thought it was the best possible example. It course corrected as much as they possibly could from 50 Shades of Grey.
Perry, what are your thoughts on this?
I'm not particularly surprised. Didn't the first trailer also break a similar record, some sort of trailer record? So, I mean, given that this trailer does exactly what this trailer should have done, of course it's going to break records. It is a little surprising, though, that it beats The Force Awakens when we had waited so long for a new Star Wars movie, and then this just comes out and does that. But I mean, what did it make? Like over 550 million worldwide. So the first one, at least.
Yeah, and these YouTube records, it's a new sport. This whole breaking YouTube records. So there's going to be another trailer that comes out next month, and it's going to be like the Annabelle 2 trailer is going to break the 50 Shades Darker trailer. It's going to be a lot of records before Episode 9 has the title for a while.
For me, it was a little bit surprising. I mean, when I had first heard about the first movie, that one breaking records, I think that one surprised me more because I knew it was a popular thing. I just didn't know it was that popular. But this one surprised me more because the first movie wasn't as well received as people had thought it was going to be.
Well, I think a lot of people watched it for that reason.
Really?
I think a lot of people watched it not because they were intrigued by the premise of the movie, but they just want to get some yucks. And I don't know how they felt about the actual trailer, but it got the click.
Okay. Sinead, did you watch the 50 Shades Darker trailer?
Yeah, I did. I didn't love it. I didn't think it was the best trailer ever, but I also agree. I think that the reason why it's got so many views is because there is such a huge group of people that watch a trailer that might not even end up seeing the movie, but there's just so much buzz. It's
they just want to see it.
Yeah, and they were announcing it the day before. They released a little snippet of a frame, and they were like, tomorrow, and it's just there's just so much hype and buzz. I'm not surprised at all.
I think we can all agree, though. I mean, look, between the sexual tension, between the masquerade balls, the evil twisted dungeons in this movie, going to be a lot of BO, Dennis.
The real stat, though, for the first trailer was that it was the most viewed trailer on YouTube in 2014.
Oh, the original one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's impressive. Well played, 50 Shades.
All right, let's move on to our first topic.
The Hollywood Reporter brings word that Margot Robbie has signed a first-look deal with Warner Brothers Pictures to develop and produce projects for the studio, with the previously announced Harley Quinn spin-off film up first. Robbie will serve as a producer on the project through her Lucky Chap Entertainment banner. The project will also feature a number of female DC characters, with the likes of Batgirl and the Birds of Prey reportedly in the mix. No release date has been set.
3 years ago, no one knew who Margot Robbie was. I mean, Wolf of Wall Street came out 3 years ago, but it didn't come out until, November, I think? November, December-ish. So at this point, the general worldwide audience had no idea who she is. Now she is blown up, especially being Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad. She was in Legend of Tarzan. She's been in a few other movies. It's a smart idea for WB to get in business with her. And also, my question is, what kind of producer is she going to be? Because, the producer credit is something that like a lot of people have questions about whether what someone is actually doing on a movie, and sometimes it's a producer is very important to a film, and they're doing everything that helps make the movie get made, or they just happen to be someone that has the rights to something, or they are a star. A person like Tom Cruise, who's a actor producer, I know he actually oversees a lot of his movie. He is very invested in very minute details. So the question is she going to be like that, or is it just they're going to throw her name up there? Perry?
I'm a little surprised she's getting a co-producer credit, not a full producer or an executive producer credit, especially because this first look deal she has with Warner Brothers, isn't that through her own production company too? So I don't know. You would think she would be more involved, but again, it's like what you said, especially with actors who are big name actors, you never really know why they earned that credit. So for all we know, she could just be up there because it's her company and she's not actually doing any of the producing work. But I don't know. I obviously can't say whether or not that's the case, but good for her. Good for her taking a stronger hold on her career. And not only is she a really fresh face, but she's also really young too. So good on her for starting her career like this and having some sort of control on the movie she makes.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. From Warner Brothers' perspective, you strike when the iron is hot. And like you said, Margot Robbie, she's such a talent, but she also has a wide variety of things she can play on screen that we've already seen in her young career. You're right, Perry. She's not that old. And she also has shown that she's got a great sense of humor. She's got a lot of moxie. She's a good performer, and she's a very talented actress, as we saw when she was Harley Quinn. From the producer standpoint, the term producer is one of the most vague things you could possibly have. It's like calling somebody a golfer. Like, what does that mean?
Excuse me.
You're a golfer. I'm a golfer. Tiger Woods is a golfer. Adam Scott is a golfer. But they all like we don't know. That doesn't imply how much you actually work at your craft. Producers the same way. You can put somebody produced it. We have no idea what the day-to-day is. I have a feeling though that Margot Robbie is going to be very involved in anything she's producing. That's just a sense I get.
Yeah, I mean, she really did. What other actress or actor has kind of come out there and blown? Because she was 26 when she did Wolf of Wall Street. Like, what other actors can you think of that have like blown up recently? I think like Alicia Vikander is one, but even she's not at that level that Margot Robbie is. She's been doing a lot more smaller films, and she's gotten a lot of critical acclaim from her acting performances, but she's not the name that a Margot Robbie is.
Well, Jennifer Lawrence, you could say, after Winter's Bone and then into Hunger Games, but there's an example of a young rising star who is not going the route that Margot Robbie is right now, because she is essentially, Jennifer Lawrence at least, is essentially just starring in more and more movies. And as far as I know, she doesn't have any interest, or she isn't making any moves to get behind the lens in any respect.
Mm-hmm. I remember for a while they were trying to do it with Sam Worthington. He was like in every like big budget blockbuster movie for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, Sam Worthington was never becoming a thing.
I know,
ever.
but they were trying to though. He was in like 3 of the biggest movies of like a given 2 years.
He's going to be in a few more when that Avatar train comes rolling in again. Look out, Worthington fans! Your day is about to happen.
All right, let's move on to the next topic.
According to THR, Michael Giacchino, the composer behind Star Trek and Pixar's The Incredibles and Inside Out, will replace Alexander Desplat to score Rogue One. The outlet reports that the extensive reshoots altered the scoring calendar, and Desplat was no longer available. On the heels of this news, Disney also released 2 new international posters for the movie, with one from Japan and the other from South Korea. Rogue One is set for a release this December 16th. Barry, what do you think about Michael Giacchino scoring Rogue One in place of Desplat?
I am happy with the choice because obviously he is a very talented guy. I just can't quite understand anyone ever passing on the opportunity to score a Star Wars movie when you have that opportunity in the palm of your hand already. It just seems a little funky, the whole scheduling shift. I understand that the reshoots might have been extensive and, maybe it shifted the schedule in a way that was inconvenient, but IMDb is not always the most accurate thing when it comes to upcoming projects, but in looking at his list of projects in development, I don't see all that much there that would say, oh, this guy has no free time in his schedule to score a Star Wars movie. That seems a little crazy to me. I think that scheduling thing might be a little bogus, but I will somewhat backtrack and say, let's say he had done some work on the movie and then they did this big overhaul where there was a pretty significant tonal shift, and maybe he couldn't take a step back and rethink his idea and come up with a new score. So maybe that's the reason that it's being swapped.
Mark?
I'd love to buy something like that. It just smells fishy to me. There's something weird going on here. It's like we went from reshoots to now rescores. And while I think that Michael Giacchino is going to come in and do a fantastic job, we saw what that guy was able to do, taking notes of a score we loved from Jurassic Park and putting that into Jurassic World and giving us some new flavor as well. He's the right guy for this job if the job is available. And you're right, Perry. I just can't imagine, like, how do you not, what irrefundable tickets did you buy that you just can't like part with? Like, who cannot clear their schedule to do a Star Wars movie unless there was some sort of rift between the studio and him for whatever reason? It's hard for me to imagine that whatever they spent 6 weeks reshooting, that came back and it was like, oh yeah, I'm not going to score this movie anymore, or you guys took too much time, I can't score it. So it's something fishy. Doesn't make me nervous because I know that we're in good hands with Michael. I just, it feels weird to me, Dennis.
Yeah, but I mean, he's it's not like he's like a composer that doesn't have any kind of resume to him. He also has won an Oscar, just like Michael Giacchino. He won it for, I think, Grand Budapest
One
Hotel.
was nominated for many, many more Oscars than the other, though.
Sure. And then Giacchino, that's the composer that everyone had thought J.J. Abrams would have brought over if John Williams wasn't going to do Force Awakens, and people are pegging him as maybe the natural successor if John Williams decides to retire at some point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's the same way with composers, sometimes with actors or directors, where they don't want to do the big movie, or they're a little apprehensive of getting into the world of a franchise or a blockbuster. So I'm not sure if that was what it was, or it just, maybe it was as simple as my schedule won't allow, because I'm already committed to these other projects, that I have personal relationships with the people making these movies, or I really care about doing this material, and I know you guys are going to be in good hands going forward. So it feels weird to me.
And how do you guys feel about the posters? I mean, the one in the black kind of looks like it's almost like an X-Men shot there. And then the other one, she's just standing on the beach with the Death Star in the background. I mean, they're okay.
I'm not great at Photoshop, but I'm pretty sure I could have cranked out something similar to the one where they look like they're in the Death Star. I don't like that one at all. That one feels really cheap and thrown together to me. The other one I think is pretty neat. It's Jyn Erso with the looming visage of the Death Star in the background. That's a neat looking poster, but the other one, it's like they look like they're like lost looking for Ninja Turtles. It just, I don't.
In the sewers?
Yeah, it looks like the little like white lines around him. It just looks really, really fake and just poorly done to me.
And then Reza Ahmed looks like he's in some sort of Nightcrawler position or Beast position.
I'm not a fan. Perry, are you digging that one?
I'm with you. I'm pretty damn good at Photoshop, and I could probably make both of these posters, but at least one looks more natural and also visually appealing. It's just like when you put that backdrop in there, even if she looks photoshopped into the image, it's still going to be nice. Whereas, I mean, really, what is that? There isn't even any definition in the tunnel. It is just black with white light. So I'm not really feeling that one, but that's a pretty one.
She's damn good at Photoshop, and she's damn good on the links. Perry Nemiroff.
I can Photoshop squirrels into any picture.
All right, guys, let's move on to buy or sell. Sinead, what do we got first?
According to Tracking Board, Mean Girls director Mark Waters has signed on to direct a Disney live-action family comedy called Magic Camp, with Steve Martin in talks to star. The film follows a rigid and cautious banker who returns to the summer camp he attended as a boy, which just so happens to be Magic Camp. There's no word on a release date or start of production. Mark, do you buy or sell Magic Camp for Disney with Mark Waters at the helm?
Yeah, I'll buy it. Sounds like a nice, fun family movie. And I do like that it's Steve Martin, and it's a little biographical because Steve Martin actually started his career in performing, working at Knott's Berry Farm, doing magic tricks during the summer there, and that's how he grew to love being on stage. And obviously that went to one of the biggest stand-up comics in the world before his film career, which now we go full circle. So I think it's neat that he's going back. He became this rigid dude, and now he's like, oh, I'm going to rediscover what I loved about life in the first place. So it's light, it's fluffy, it's family fun, and sure, why not? Give it a buy.
Yeah, I'll cautiously buy it. I mean, I love Mean Girls, so Mark Waters directing that is a big plus, but he also directed Vampire Academy.
Don't even. I knew you were going to go there. I just knew it.
Do you really love Vampire Academy?
I do.
With John C. Reilly?
I did.
No, not John C.
Oh,
Reilly.
no.
That's the
Cirque
Apprentice
du Freak,
one.
the vampire's assistant,
No,
which
Vampire
I also
Academy.
think got an unfair response.
What's Vampire Academy? A bunch of like vampires going to school,
That's
learning.
the one with
Yeah.
Zoe Deutsch, and they all
It's
they
like
go
a
to
high,
school.
like some sort of prep school or something like that.
They
They all
like-
go
I'm
to.
telling
I
you.
tried watching it; was not good.
It's not a masterpiece.
The
It's fun though.
Do they go to school
it's
at
good
night?
fun.
Is it, I mean, you
No,
wouldn't think
they're
they'd have to
literally
get up
going to
early.
like a private prep school, and they're also vampires. And that's
Yeah.
pretty much what the whole movie
You
is
need
about.
to watch it to understand how the whole day night thing. I love how I'm selling Vampire Academy on yet
Yeah.
another show.
I'll check it out. Sure.
So for that reason, I'll cautiously buy it. Obviously, Steve Martin, if they get him, which is weird because it's like it was his idea. He originally was going to direct, but they're still in negotiations to talk to him. Couldn't he be like, "Hey, that was my idea there. Why can't I be in it?" But he's one of the greatest comedic actors ever. So him being a part of this that's what makes me want to buy it. Perry?
Yeah, I'm gonna buy it as well. And I mean, I hope Steve Martin is still involved to the extent he was. I think it was like 2-3 years ago. Because when I was prepping for the show and I looked on Collider.com to see the last article we had on Magic Camp, I think it was something from 2014 that I had randomly written. So I'm like, oh, that's a thing still.
Yeah.
But I like Mark Waters. Even beyond Vampire Academy, I like Mean Girls and I like Freaky Friday too. So I'm all for that. The one thing I'm really hoping that they do in this movie that a movie like, let's say Now You See Me, did not take advantage of is the really cool, like sleight of hand tricks that you can capture on camera where you can incorporate real life sleight of hand as in performing a magic trick and then also camera tricks, Whereas I'm not going to spoil anything about Now You See Me, but they take it in another direction
Well,
where
it's fantasy at that point with Now You See Me too.
Exactly.
That was my argument with people. Like, I was like, they don't show you the tricks, and people are like, yeah, they do. I was like, no, they don't. They just make up stuff. They're like,
Yeah.
like him. This is from the trailer, so it's not a spoiler for Now You See Me too. He drops down and turns into a puddle of water.
Yeah, there
it's
you
like,
go.
okay, you're just using visual effects.
That's
at
not
that
a
point.
movie about magic, or at least that's not the movie about magic that I thought I was getting when the first Now You See Me came out.
I want this the magic camp to be like a bunch of kids show up and they like learn from Chris Angel. Like they just learn like these horrific stunts
Yeah.
and really just like, okay, kids, welcome to magic camp. We're all going to put you in cement and drown you.
R-rated
and
magic
then you
camp.
survive,
Yeah.
and that's your trick. That was actually one of the best things about. I mean, I know a lot of people didn't like Burt. What was that? The Burt Wonderstone
Oh,
or whatever.
God.
But the whole Jim Carrey thing, being
Yeah.
that Chris Angel type of magician.
It was the best part of that movie that I would probably rather watch Vampire
Now
Academy.
I'm kind of picturing like Battle Royale style magic camp.
Yeah,
Who survives?
man.
Really, I would watch that.
I'm totally in. Steve Martin proctors the whole thing. It's a big buy now.
All right, we got another trailer for the next topic.
All right, Focus Features has unveiled the first teaser trailer for Nocturnal Animals, the long-awaited follow-up film from a single man, filmmaker Tom Ford. Based on the Austin Wright novel Tony and Susan, the film stars Amy Adams as a successful art dealer whose former flame, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, sends her an intense and thrilling manuscript for a novel inspired by their relationship. Nocturnal Animals opens in limited release on November 18th and opens wide on December 9th. Dennis, do you buy or sell the first trailer for Nocturnal Animals?
Hate the title, love the trailer. Big buy for me. I didn't see Tom Ford's a single man in it, but he did get Colin Firth an Oscar nomination for that role. So I'm pretty confident that he can get this great cast of actors to perform. And reading the synopsis before I watched the trailer, I was kind of bored. I was like, oh, this doesn't sound interesting at all. Then I started playing the trailer, and I got hooked. I was like, oh, wow, now I want to know, what did she do to him that made him so obsessed that he would write this book and then fall out some sort of crazy plan in there? And are they going to blur reality within this movie where you don't know what's in his story and what's actually happening? Perry, what do you think?
For that reason, this is a really difficult movie to cut a trailer for, and they did such a damn good job. This is a huge, huge buy for me. I've been keeping up with Matt and Adam's coverage out of TIFF, and this was one of Matt Goldberg's highest reviewed movies of the festival, and I really trust him when it comes to stuff like this. So I am so insanely hyped, and I just love the fact that it still feels like a substantial trailer, but it leaves you with a million more questions than you had even at the start. And I was focusing on Aaron Taylor Johnson. What is he doing in this? What is his agenda in this movie? Because he delivers two lines in the trailer that are just polar opposite, where you think he's you think he's a crazy guy. I think he says it's fun to kill people in the end, but then in the beginning he's telling someone you're crazy, you're making a big mistake. So whose side is he on? Who's right and wrong? I just want to know everything about this movie at this point.
Yeah, I can't say it's a huge buy, but I will pay for it because, like what you guys are both alluding to, is that it feels a lot like that Collateral Beauty trailer that we saw, where we're not sure what all is reality and what is just a theater of the mind in this film. But I like that, and I think that Tom Ford's the guy with a unique vision, and the talent involved in this alone. Like Amy Adams had me sold on this trailer as soon as I saw it. Her and Gyllenhaal and everybody else from top to bottom looks like it's going to be an intense ride, but I think it's going to have that emotional core that we want from a movie that comes out this time of year. I saw this trailer for the first time last night when I went to go see Snowden at like 10:30, and it really has a pop on the big screen. It's a good trailer.
Sinead, you watched the trailer, I think, twice before the show.
Yeah.
What did you think? You buying or selling this thing?
I buy it. I think it looks really good. I think that my favorite part about the trailer was the fact that I didn't know what she was remembering from their relationship and what was real life, because it kind of seemed like it was switching to a different time. Like they all seemed to look a little bit different, like the color was a little bit different. So if the whole movie leads up to some crazy thing that she did to him and she's reliving it all while she's reading this story, then that's a huge buy for me. I don't know how I feel about it being the opposite. Like if they don't go back and retell this story that she's just received, then I wouldn't like it as much. But I want them to dive so deep into this book because she seems to be like horrified by it.
Yeah, I'm still I want to know what she did. What did she do to make him so angry? All right. Let's move on to the next topic.
All right. Warner Brothers has released the first trailer for the upcoming comedy Bastards, starring Owen Wilson and Ed Helms. The film revolves around a pair of adult brothers whose eccentric mother, played by Glenn Close, raised them to believe that their father died of cancer when they were young, only to discover that it was a flat-out lie. The duo then set out to find their real father as their mother narrows down the list of possible candidates. The movie opens on January 27th, 2017. Perry, do you buy or sell the first look at Bastards?
I am giving this a big fat sell. This was not funny at all. I got really excited when I saw Glenn Close was in the movie because Glenn Close was doing a comedy. I wanted to see that. I don't think I laughed once this entire trailer. And it got to the point where Ed Helms and Owen Wilson were just annoying me. And every single thing that they were doing, it's like I felt like all the little bits in the trailer were things that I had seen before. I have absolutely no interest in seeing this movie.
Mark, are you buying or selling?
I'm not made of money, Dennis. I can't come on here and just buy every story that's here. So I'm going to have to sell some of these. I'm going to have to tighten the old wallet. And unfortunately, Bastards, you're on the chopping block because I laugh sometimes watching this trailer. I'll be honest. I giggled a few times, but I saw nothing in this to make me think it's going to be anything more than that movie that had Robin Williams and Billy Crystal in it, Father's Day, where it's just kind of the spin on. They were trying to wonder who's the father of this kid, and now here it's like, who's our dad? And it's a funny premise, but the trailer and the humor I saw in the trailer didn't live up to what that premise was. As much as I respect the hell out of Terry Bradshaw, hell of a quarterback, some comedic moments in failure to launch. I'm sorry, Steelers fans, I can't buy this trailer yet.
Yeah, I don't sell it as hard as you do, Perry, but I do sell this. There were moments I did laugh at Ving Rhames' little line at the end of the movie. This whole premise kind of reminds me, you guys, I don't know how many people watched that show, How I Met Your Mother, but Neil Patrick Harris's character, him and his brother, who's played by Wayne Brady, kind of have a similar situation where their mom doesn't tell them for the longest time she makes up stories about who their father is, and so that's what reminded me of this. But otherwise, it's not that interesting.
It's a couple chuckles where it's like, done.
Yeah.
There's no rollicking laughters yet. I want that from a Bastards
maybe if it's
trailer.
like on Netflix for free,
Sure.
I'll watch it.
You can come over to my place. You know what? You can come in for free.
Okay.
When I get screening room, you can watch Bastards for free.
Okay.
That's the only movie.
That's how poorly you think this movie.
Every other movie, you're still paying $20, but Bastards, you get a discount, my friend.
I'm gonna stay home.
All right. What's next?
STX Entertainment has released the first trailer for their upcoming horror film, The Bye-Bye Man. From the producers of Oculus and The Strangers, the film centers on a group of college friends who discover the horrific Bye-Bye Man, an ancient evil that grows ever more powerful the more that you think or speak about him. And once he's powerful enough, he'll possess you entirely and make you do terrible things. It opens on January 13th, 2017. Dennis, do you buy or sell the first trailer for The Bye-Bye Man?
Hate the title, and this time I will sell the trailer. I didn't really care for it. Just it had the typical horror style editing with the horror trailer sound effects for it. You know, they had that one gross out moment with the maggot, and then that whole what is it? Don't say it, don't think it, just repeated throughout this movie. You know, everyone knows I'm not the biggest horror fan, so I'm only gonna try and watch the horror films that are like something like Don't Breathe or The Conjuring, or these really hyped up ones, and this is not gonna fall in that category. Mark?
You know I'm not made of money, Dennis. But I'm going to have to mow some lawns or something this weekend because I am buying the trailer for the Bye Bye Man. We need one of these guys back in horror movies. You know, we need like a Freddy Krueger or Jason. We need this looming scary presence in the background. Enough with the possession. Enough with all the lights are turning on and off. Let's get a bad guy, and we know he's bad. We don't know how we summon him, but God, it's too late. Now we got to run. The Bye Bye Man is coming for you. I don't think this movie is necessarily going to be great. January 13th is not a great date to sell me on. My favorite part of the trailer is when the dude is in the car and he's looking at, I assume, his girlfriend, and the maggot, and she's got a maggot in her eye, and he's giving her this look like, you are so attractive right now. But you got a maggot in your eye, and it's like if you're about to kiss somebody, but they got like a little boogie hanging. It's like, do I call him out and ruin the moment, or do I just keep going? Personally, for me, if the worst thing about you is that you got a maggot falling out of your eye, I am totally fine with that. Let's go to Jared and put a ring on it, because if everything else about you is fine, I am cool with one maggot falling out of your eye every so often. That's just me.
Right. As one of the co-hosts of Collider Nightmares, our horror show here, Perry, what do you think about this?
Yeah, for the record, maggots are a deal breaker for me. I don't know what's wrong with you.
It's one maggot. Come on.
My God. Yeah, I don't love this trailer, but I'm gonna buy it because I'm gonna see just about every horror movie that comes out anyway. And there were parts of this that I liked. This is just one big 2-minute clump of horror cliches, but there's something I do really like about the Freddy Krueger vibe and the scare that comes with not being able to stop a villain, because who can stop yourself from thinking something? It's like, even if you say to yourself, oh, I'm not going to think about this terrible thing that happened to me, then you start like messing with your own mind and you can't help it, you know?
Have you ever tried to not think about something?
It's not possible.
It's so hard.
It's like it's the reverse of Freddy then, where you just need to be out cold and sleeping. You just need to drug yourself and sleep through this whole movie, and then you can survive.
Yeah, I mean, Jason's pretty avoidable. You just don't go to Camp Crystal Lake, done, set. That's the ballgame. Freddy Krueger's a different scenario because you got to stay awake. It's really hard to do, but you can pull it off for a while. To not even be able to think about a guy, that is impossible, Dennis, and I can't wait to be in the theater. Perry and I are going to go see this opening night.
Oh, yeah.
All right, before we move on to box office predictions, there's actually a little bit of, not breaking news, but I guess, remember when Mission Impossible 6 was put on hold because Tom Cruise wasn't able to come to a deal?
Yeah.
Looks like they've come to a deal.
All right.
Tom Cruise, so they are resuming pre-production. They weren't filming or anything. They were just in pre-production phase, and they kind of stopped because I guess there was some sort of back and forth about his salary and what he was going to get. Now they've come to some sort of deal, and now it moves forward.
You pay the man, and I hope that they got this resolved in time to where the rest of the cast didn't mess up their schedules too much, because I love Tom Cruise in the Mission Impossible movies, but I love the team as well. I want all the team to come back, too.
Yeah, the team is very important to me. I figured this was going to happen. We had to get the Mission Impossible 6, and we had to get it going pretty fast. I just want to know what he's going to do to top the plane thing, because it's got to be something.
All right, guys. Before we get into box office predictions, I want to remind you that we have the Schmodown. Christian Harloff versus John Roca are battling it out, and this is part of the Ultimate Schmodown, the tournament. So it's you lose and you're out. And that's on our channel at 2 p.m. today. Watch out for that. Also, Perry, what do we got up for Best of the Week?
I'm not really going to tell you. It's a surprise, but we have another Collider original video coming on Best of the Week, which drops Saturday at 2 p.m. PST. So you're going to want to check that out for this reason.
What is that?
Woo!
Donuts.
Someone needs to send me a copy of that, whoever did that. Is that you? Did you do that?
That is Frank.
Oh, my God.
We got to give Frank a lot of credit.
I know. Love that.
He's the wonderful editor behind our rap video and behind
God,
this next
so
video
funny.
that's coming. So Best of the Week, you're going to want to watch
Which
it.
is Saturday, 2 p.m.
Yep.
Remind you also we have a Captain America Civil War commentary that we just did. It's on the channel now. We also still have that Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition one. Also, I want to tell people I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. So this is my last
Wait a
movie
minute.
talk for 2
Wait a
weeks.
minute. Wait. I can't. A lot of people are going on vacation right
I'm
now.
going
I
on
can't have you
vacation.
be one of those people.
I have to.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Japan. I
Jeez.
planned it like 6-7 months ago.
Dude, you got to tell us this, man. We're
crazy.
screwed here without you.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
You guys will be
lights-
perfectly fine.
The lights are going to shut out here for 2 weeks, Dennis. We can't
it'll be
handle
fine.
it.
I'm going to come back and the studio's going to be on fire.
Does that
or
mean
something.
we're all
the
off
stu-
for like 2 weeks?
No. I don't think the viewers at home would be too pleased with that.
We promise we'll turn the AC off.
Okay.
What
Well,
are you most looking forward to about Japan? I've never been there. What's like the one thing, like, I can't wait to go to Japan and...
For me, the whole reason I travel is so I can eat other cuisines from other countries.
Nice.
That's number one. Seeing other beautiful scenery is secondary. Food is number one, right?
Food is
Sinead
always
and
number
Perry.
one.
You better bring some food back for our mailbag
Yes.
when you
Okay.
return.
Some sushi in your suitcase.
I'll bring some sushi back. All right, guys, now we're on to box office predictions. This is the weekly segment brought to you by our friends at AMC Theaters, where we try and predict the top 5 movies of the weekend. Perry, as the resident, the person who takes this
I take
the
it very
most seriously.
This game means a lot to
Like
me.
some of us throw darts at a little board. You do research and everything.
I do. Because for a while when I was freelancing for another outlet, I used to do box office predictions, and I had I used to do my calculations, and I had a spreadsheet and everything.
So you were doing the Moneyball thing for box office.
I was a little intense about it, and this week it's really frustrating me because I thought I had it for a while, and then I started to switch because I feel like it's going to come really close for number 1 between Blair Witch and Sully, and I think that I'm gonna go number 1 being Sully. Which breaks my Blair Witch love and heart. But I'm going number 1, Sully. 2 is Blair Witch. I think Bridget Jones's Baby is coming in at number 3. Then Snowden, and then When the Bow Breaks at 5.
Okay, mine is similar to yours. I have Sully at number 1. Number 2, Blair Witch. I put there because I feel like within the horror community, there's a lot of buzz for this film, but I don't know outside of the horror community. There's been kind of some because the second one wasn't so well received and the first one was so long ago, I just don't think for casual movie-going fans are going to come out and see this. Number 3, I do have Bridget Jones's Baby. And then I have When the Bow Breaks at number 4, then Snowden. Because I just feel like
You're
Snowden...
going rock bottom with Snowden, aren't you?
I almost didn't put it on my top 5 because I just feel like no one is really paying attention to this film. It had a hard time getting a distributor. I don't know. Mark, what do you have?
I think When the Bow Breaks proves that there is an audience and for that movie because it did pretty well for its budget opening weekend. So I think that's going to hold over to the second week. I do have that coming in at number 4, just edging out Snowden. So I'll go Snowden at 5, When the Bow Breaks at 4. I got Bridget Jones's Bun in the Oven at 3. I'll have Sully at 2. And I think Blair Witch is going to be numero uno at the box office this weekend. And it should be, because if you like horror at all, you should go check it out in the theater. It's a good scare.
All right. Now moving on to, before we get on to mailbag, I want to remind you that we're going to do live Twitter questions at the end of the show. You can tweet us at Collider Video, and Wendy will pick out a few of those. What do we got for the first mailbag, Sinead?
Courtney Rose writes, "Good day from Down Under. I found you guys through an episode of Jedi Council over a year ago and have been obsessed with all your shows ever since. You have broadened my movie knowledge and viewing incredibly. If I haven't heard of a movie you're talking about, I'll look it up, and often if I can get my hands on it, I'll watch it. I've also watched movies that I've previously not been interested in because of positive comments that you've made. For example, I always remember John at some point that he said he enjoyed Cinderella. It stuck in my head, and after having had no interest and skipping over it many times, when it popped up on Netflix again the other night, I decided to watch it purely based on John's comments, and I absolutely adored it. What movies have you not been interested in at all and purposely avoided to then watch due to others' enjoyment and ended up loving? Thanks and love your work."
Mark, what movies did you get interested after people started talking about?
I got a couple of them, Dennis. When it initially came out, I was not that high on needing to see The Shawshank Redemption. Didn't really know what it was about. At the time of my life, I was a kid, so I didn't really care about it that much. And then everybody started seeing it. Somehow, I went through 4 years of college with all my friends loving it. Still hadn't seen Shawshank Redemption. Then I get into this movie space. Everybody raves about that movie, so I finally saw it after getting more and more interested, and I ended up loving it. It is such a great movie. If by some rare chance you have not seen Shawshank Redemption yet, definitely check it out. Another one that I didn't end up loving, but everybody said I should check out, was Love Actually. Love Actually, everybody said, oh no, it's a movie we watch every Christmas. It's decent. It's decent. There's a really awful fat-shaming scene in there at the end that's just stupid for no reason. I have a lot of problems with Love Actually. Don't get me started, but The Shawshank Redemption, hell of a picture.
Perry, what about you?
So this wasn't a situation where I was actively avoiding it, but the movie Brooklyn, when it came out, because I'm not the biggest fan of, like schmaltzy romantic dramas. it really did not seem like it was going to be my thing at all. And then I saw it, and I mean, I fell in love hardcore with this movie. I saw it so many times, and then when I was moving out here, or I had just made the decision to move from New York to LA, I saw it again, and then it had this whole new meaning because she moves away from home, and it was so scary, but she did it. I love that movie.
That movie so captured how scary it is to move away from your home and be in a new place. I really felt like the old homesickness come back during that movie, but it was in a good way.
Yeah, I also had Brooklyn on my list as well, just because it was a movie that I saw the trailers and I thought was kind of boring. I was like, oh, I've seen this, and then it got nominated for an Oscar, and then people started watching it, and then I heard people talking, especially John Schnepp was saying, oh, it's actually really good. So I checked it out. I liked how sincere it was. I thought it was watching the movie at some point, I was like, this has the chance of being either like melodramatic or too much, sappiness, but it actually hits the right tone of what she's going through. Another one was the Planet of the Apes, the newest one, the James Franco one.
Was that Dawn of the Planet
No,
of the Apes?
the one before
Rise?
that one.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
I can't
they
remember all
rose,
the
then
names.
they had the Dawn.
Yeah. Had no interest. The trailers, it looked generic. It didn't look exciting at all. But then I heard people had started talking about how good it was, and I checked it out in the theater. I was like, yeah, I actually really like it. And then I ended up liking Dawn of the Planet of the Apes even more so. So that's Sinead. Is there a movie that you were not interested in whatsoever that people, because they talked about it, they got you interested in it?
Well, I mean, just like getting into superhero movies, like in the beginning, when the first Iron Man movie came out, I remember I was in high school. I must have just started high school at the time, and just wasn't like part of my daily repertoire. Granted, I was pretty young, 14, 15. So it just wasn't something that had me super. You guys are all shaking your heads at me.
Who doesn't want to see Iron Man opening weekend?
Well, I was like 14, 15. It just wasn't something that I'd really explored before. That kind of comic book, superhero, really like action movies too much at that point. But people were talking about it. It was all over TV. It was all over the internet. And that was kind of when the internet was really becoming like a thing too. And I had to see it and been hooked ever since. Low-key, I still haven't seen Brooklyn, though, to be honest.
You should see Brooklyn because it's going to be emotional for you. And then we should all have a team viewing of Vampire Academy. I think we're all going to
the sound of that.
No, I paid my dues.
Dennis.
I watched it once. I don't ever need to watch
listen
it
to
again.
Sinead. She doesn't know what she's talking
We need
about.
to do Mean Girls first, though.
Yeah.
Mean Girls
Or no,
first.
maybe we should watch Vampire Academy first and then redeem it with Mean Girls.
Oh, please.
You know what movie is still like this for me, too, is The Room. I just do not care about seeing that. I don't care about seeing The Room.
You're talking about The Room or Room?
I'm talking about
He's talking about The Room.
I'm not talking about the Brie Larson good room. I'm talking about the bad The Room.
You're going to love it.
You're
gonna love it.
Everybody's like, oh, it's so much fun to laugh at stuff. I just don't care about seeing it.
No, you're going to see it, and just so many things. You're a comedian. So many things are going to come to your mind.
Okay.
Just as you're watching it, because it's just right there in front of you. It's easy pickings.
Look, I've said this. There's two. I'm nothing if not handsome, and I'm nothing if not fair.
I thought you were going to say funny, but...
No, I've been not funny a lot.
Okay. All right, guys, that's it for Mailbag. Let's move on to our live Twitter questions. Wendy, what do we got?
The first one comes from Sexy Butterstick, and they say, hey there, sexy crew. What is your favorite movie starring a robot? Mine is either Terminator 2 or RoboCop. Thanks.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Terminator is a good one.
I mean,
Robot.
I got to take Star Wars out of the equation because we got to be a little more original here because they're droids, but they're robots. So if I take Star Wars out, I think Terminator 2 Judgment Day, it's going to be tough to beat that one for me. RoboCop was a lot of fun, the 1987 or 88 one. As far as, a robot that is like the star of a movie, the one that everybody seems to love that I can't stand is Johnny Five, the Short Circuit. Cannot stand that movie. I will take Batteries Included all day over Short Circuit.
Would you take a Chappie
Stop.
over
Why are we just
over
hating on
Johnny
some of my
Five?
favorite
I think it's
movies?
crappy too, Perry.
Oh, you guys.
Not a fan
you
of Chappie.
guys.
Because I actually really like Johnny Five from Short Circuit, but then I watched Chappie and I was like, oh, this is it has those
I feel like
shades.
you pre-planned this.
Like I designed the
just gonna
episode
hate
just
all
to
over my
bash
movies.
over
Yeah.
Perry's
Breaking
movie.
news:
So
Dennis's
cool.
actual handle on Twitter is sexy butterstick. Knew it.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm picking Wally. I
Yay.
love Wally to death. It is one of my favorite Pixar movies. One of my parents' dogs is named Wally because obviously I named him. I am just obsessed with that movie. I can watch it over and over. And Hal, even though Hal's not a robot. I love Wally and Hal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for me, Short Circuit or Johnny Five from Short Circuit and Terminator 2, the Arnold Schwarzenegger, kind of the good guy version of the T-800.
What was the robot movie where they fight each other with Hugh Jackman in it? That was a good one too.
Real Steel.
Yeah, Real
I
Steel.
like Real Steel.
My movie trivia brain's not working today, but Real Steel, that was a surprisingly good movie, I thought.
Iron Giant was a good robot as well.
That's on my gotta watch list, right under
Okay.
Vampire Academy.
All right, what's next?
Jonathan Peck says, with Michael Giacchino doing the Rogue One score, I've been wondering what is his best score?
Ooh, that's a good question. Jonathan Peck, big Redskins fan. I'm going to go ahead and say Jurassic World until I look up his IMDb because I'm not great with composers and what they've done before. I know he also did the Star Trek movies, which I enjoyed the score, but it's not as memorable for me. You got a lead going in because you're barring a lot of what John Williams did for Jurassic World, but that score really did something, man. I was very impressed with what he was able to pull off.
For me, it's actually his television work. He did stuff on Lost and the show Fringe. So those.
I like Jurassic World. I like his work on Jurassic World. I think he could have used some of the original themes even more than he did, though. I wish he had done that, but I think I'm going to go Inside Out. There's certain parts of that score that I could still hum and I know very well, and I edited a video recently with some of that score, so it's just like I get really excited when I can hit certain beats of that score, and I think it's really effective.
All right, what's next?
Alexander Burton says, what great actor or actresses are choosing really bad movies? I say Toby Kebbell and Britt Robertson.
Well, I mean, I think of right now, like older guys like Bruce Willis and Nicolas Cage, they're actually really good actors that they're just phoning in at this point. They're just like, all right, what? Didn't like Bruce Willis just come out with like some sort of like VOD movie recently? You know?
mean, he's done a lot of those. It's
But
like,
I mean, he's John McClane from Die Hard. Why is he?
John McClane from Die Hard's got to pay the bills too, Dennis. I mean,
I'm
think
sure
that,
he has no trouble paying the bills.
I don't know, but that was the deal with Nicolas Cage is that like he invested his money. I think Nicolas Cage bought like a Siberian tiger for like $8 million. So he's got some expenditures he doesn't necessarily need to spend his money on, but he's starting to climb back. So I think more than Bruce Willis, Nicolas Cage, because he pops into Snowden for a little bit, and it's nice to see Nicolas Cage when he's like
on his game.
Yeah, when he's not mailing
I
in.
thought he
'cause
was good in Snowden.
He's a world-class actor still. He's got the chops. He's just got to get out of Crazy Town a little bit.
Perry.
I'm not a fan of the stuff that Robert De Niro has been choosing recently. I don't know. I think just and it's not that the movies are that terrible, but most of the things that he's in, or just the most recent things that he's in, I find that I gravitate more towards the actors around him, and I think that they are doing better things than he is. But, poor Toby Kebbell. I don't think it's a matter of Toby Kebbell choosing the bad roles. I think these are just opportunities that come his way. And at the start, it might sound like a great idea, and then, a movie changes from script to production to screen. So,
But
it's not his fault.
you bring a good point though, because Toby Kebbell's not in the position to choose what movies he's gonna do. He's not at that stage of his career. When we're talking about like Robert De Niro, Bruce Willis, or Nicolas Cage, those guys are they're up there. They can choose. They can be a little more picky with what they're doing. All right, let's do 2 more.
Okay. FF Justice says, what is a movie you love but is obscure or underrated? Mine is Double Take with Orlando Jones and Eddie Griffin.
Man.
A movie that we love that is underrated. I mean, look, some people just have these guilty pleasure movies, and I think everybody has that library inside their head. For me, it's going to be your early to mid-'90s action movies, one of which stars Nicolas Cage, Con Air. It's not a great movie, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun. A lot of Van Damme films, some Steven Seagal movies. I think Under Siege is like a legitimately well-made action film, but a lot of people will still make fun of me for it. I'm going to say that the original Point Break, I think, is the greatest action movie of the 90s, and I think that people use it as a punchline more now than they do a legitimately great film, but it really is. Go back and watch Point Break, man. It's awesome. Catherine Bigelow.
Perry?
I think I'm going to go horror, surprise, surprise, and say I think the remake of House of Wax is very, very underrated. That movie gets so much crap, probably because Paris Hilton's in it, but that's a really tense, effective horror remake that I love. And just underseen only because I had just tweeted this at someone and I love this movie to death. If you've never seen Cheap Thrills, you have to see that movie with Pat Healy and Ethan Embry. Oh my God, I don't want to spoil anything in it. It's like a betting game, and David Koechner's in it too, and Sarah Paxton. It is so good. Go check that out on VOD.
If we're going underseen, I'll also throw this movie with Chris Evans, Captain America, called Puncture. It's really good. He plays a lawyer in it. I was spellbound by his performance. I found that movie captivating.
The movie The Losers I had a lot of fun with
Yeah.
with Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Zoe Saldana, Chris Evans, Idris Elba. I thought it was a lot of fun. I think it only got like 49% on Rotten Tomatoes, and it also didn't do that well at the box office. But I thought it was a fun, the tongue-in-cheek type of action movie, and it was based on that Vertigo DC Comics thing.
That's a good call. That was a fun movie.
Yeah. All right, one more.
Phil Fang Foom says, how much do you think social media jokes and memes impact a film?
I think for comedies more so, because they tend to like throw in some jokes in there that are based on some sort of memes or internet stuff, but I don't think like full-on movie dramas are going to be too impacted by them. And at the same time too, then it starts to get dated, like let's say you throw in a joke about something that's funny right now, the movie's not going to age very well.
That's my big issue with spoof movies now. Is spoof movies are just it's like Us Weekly made a movie, and it's like, oh, let's just make fun of these things that are popular at this moment, and it doesn't age well at all. I think conversely, if you're talking about how social media or memes have had an impact on a film's box office, I would love if some way in the future we could track a stat like what Sad Affleck did for Batman v Superman. Does something like that help the box office receipts, or does it make people not want to go see the movie as much? I think it's a real thing. I think it does impact people's opinion of going to see a movie. Maybe not necessarily the weekend it opens, but in the ensuing weeks, how social media reacts to a movie and whether there's a lot of memes that are generated, whether it's making fun of it or praising a movie. I think it's a real stat we should be able to track at some point next century.
I would be curious to see what those numbers are, but with the Sad Affleck one, I just imagine that most of the people that were looking at that meme are the people who are going to see it anyway. So I wonder if that makes a difference. But I just think it's really cool how social media kind of extends/preserves the legacy of a movie. It's like a movie that was really popular, back in the day, can not just reappear because now it's on VOD or you could watch it any which way, but it's constantly circulating because of things like GIF. Like if you go in your little Giphy keyboard and type anything in, like any movie can pop up and it can remind you of that crazy movie you haven't seen in 10 years.
Yeah. Sinead, what do you think about the impact of social media on films?
Well, I was going to say when memes first became popular, that was the one thing I noticed, was that it was a lot of older movies coming back in. And then when you're like looking through movies like on demand, or when you're flipping through channels, all of a sudden your mind kind of like is like, oh, I just saw something about this online and that kind of thing. And I feel like Perry said, preserving a legacy and just getting people to like think about movies that they haven't in a while, I think it makes a huge difference. Making a movie, I don't think it makes any difference. I don't think that those people pay attention to what fans are saying as much when they're still making a movie, unless it's like based on like critics from previous installments, like moving forward. If the people, for example, like, we just did a story on this the other day. Moving forward with DC, they were like, yeah, we paid attention to what people were saying. Like that's one thing. But I think the biggest impact comes after the movies come out, especially now with GIFs and memes, especially.
Wendy, what do you think about social media influence on movies?
I think it makes certain people not take certain films like seriously, in a sense, where they're just so focused on that one meme or joke, and it kind of distracts from what the movie is supposed to do. Like it's not doing its job anymore. Everybody's like, oh, ho, ho. Like for example, in the chat room, I'm always seeing like, oh, Martha, or sad Ben Affleck and whatever, and so everybody's focused on that. But I guess in a way, it influences people to go and see those movies, because it's kind of like, what is this Martha thing everybody's talking about? Oh, I guess I'm gonna go check out Batman v Superman. So I guess in a way it's advertisement. Like I guess there's no bad advertisements, just advertisement.
Well, you bring up a good point, though, that it also makes it like people want to be part of that conversation. So if a meme's going around about a movie they haven't seen yet and they want to kind of be in on it, maybe they'll go see it. I don't know. Let us know in the comment section below what you think, if social media, how much influence it has on movies and movie making. All right, guys, that's it for today's episode. I want to thank the people joining us at the panel today. Perry, where can people find you?
You guys can catch me on Twitter and Instagram at @PNemeroff. Collider Nightmares every Tuesday. Best of the Week every Saturday. Don't forget, special video coming to Best of the Week this Saturday. That is tomorrow, and I swear it's got nothing to do with Chappie or Vampire Academy.
Mark Ellis, where can people find you?
I swear my stand-up has nothing to do with Chappie. Or actually, might talk about Chappie tonight. I'm at the Comedy Store tonight. Then next week, I also have a very special show. A lot of celebrities, and for some reason, me at the Comedy Store. Then I'm headlining some shows in New York during Comic-Con. You can get tickets for all these events at markellislive.com. Hey, that also happens to be my Twitter handle. Just worked out that way. At Mark Ellis Live. Love you.
Sinead?
I'm online at Sinead DeFries and at thatsoSinead.com. On Mondays here hosting Collider TV Talk. On Fridays hosting Movie Talk and hosting Mailbag over the weekend.
And Wendy, where can people find you?
On Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Wendy Lee Zaney.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, on Instagram, Dennis.tzng. You can find me here on Movie Talk on Fridays, and then on weekend mailbags for Saturday's mailbag. I'll be with Perry and Sinead this weekend, and then I will be gone for 2 weeks, like I said, and I will see you guys when I come back. But there's plenty of Collider video shows going on the YouTube channel, and I will be monitoring while I'm in Japan to make sure things haven't totally collapsed.
Dennis
Have fun
knows
and bring
all.
everybody
Yes.
sushi except for me. I'm not
Okay.
going to eat it.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.
Hey guys, if you like this video, click the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help you stay up to date with everything we've got going on here at Collider.